This conference will now be
Our
recorded.
today's speaker, Ms. Samoju Vargavi ma'am, MSc Biotechnology, TSSET qualified, PhD scholar, working as a lecturer in degree college. She will guide you in further session. Welcome ma'am to BioSetup Life Science. I welcome on the behalf of BioSetup Life Science. You can go ahead ma'am. Please unmute your mic and say a few words ma'am. So Moju ma'am, are you there? Please unmute your mic. You can continue. You can go ahead. Ma'am, are you there? I request our today's speaker, Ms. Somoju Vargavi, ma'am. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. Is it audible, sir?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay. Can you tell me how to share the screen? Amit Kumar, sir. Amit Kumar, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me how to share the screen?
Yes, ma'am. Click on the cursor button and it will be shared, ma'am. One by one, one by
Click on
one.
the click. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Continue.
Screen sharing. How to share the screen?
After explanation of one screen, ma'am, go to the another screen. Click on the another screen. Then it will be automatically shared, ma'am.
Click on the another screen.
Beside list of screens are there, na ma'am? One by one you can share. Please mute your video section, ma'am.
Okay.
Are you able to share, ma'am?
Hello. Shivam sir,
Yes, ma'am. Continue.
can you share the screen?
Okay, ma'am. I will share. You please go to the meeting again. I will share. I request our organizer to make me as a presenter.
Okay, okay. Good morning, everyone.
Hello, ma'am. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, sir. Good morning, everyone. This is Bhargavi, MSc Biotechnology and DS set completed, and I'm also doing.
Shibam. Hello, Shibam. Shibam, please unmute your mic. Mute your mic, Shibam. request to Ropalu, please unmute your mic. Please mute your mic. It's a humble request to you, Ropalu. Mute your mic.
Continue, ma'am. Continue. Please continue, ma'am.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible. Please continue, ma'am. I request to Ropalu, please mute your mic. Are you hearing me, Ropalu? Are you hearing me? Please mute your mic. It's a humble request to you. Okay, ma'am, go ahead. Continue.
Okay, and here we are discussing about the immunity and the types of immunity. And next, move on to next slide. Amit sir, what is immunity? Immunity means it is the ability of the body to protect against the foreign bodies. So please, next slide. Move on to next slide. Okay. First, the basic concept of immunology. What is meant by immunology? Immunology means exempt from protection from the diseases. Immunology, that means immune and ology, and that is the immunology. Here, what is meant by immunis means exception or exemption from the disease, and that is called as the immunology. And that means here immunology is meant by the protection against the foreign organisms, and that organisms are of microbial organisms, that may be bacteria, virus or fungi, and that is called as the immunology. Immunology is the exemption from the protection from the disease, that is called as the immunology, to get rid of the foreign organisms, and that is called as the immunology. And here our immune system, it involves mainly the interaction between the non-specific and specific immune responses. Immune system involves the interaction between the non-specific and specific immune responses. And what are these non-specific and specific immune responses? And these comes under the immunity. This comes under immunity. And next, coming to the what is immunity? Immunity means the resistance exhibited by the host towards the microorganisms or the foreign organisms. Immunity is the resistance exhibited by the host towards the injury caused by the other foreign microorganisms, and that is called as the immunity. Next, move on to next slide. Amit sir, next slide. And here immune system means the body that is responsible for the immunity, and that is called as the immune system, and that involves the many cells. tissues, molecules, and that mediated resistance to infections. That means immune system. System means the body. Here we already know circulatory system, respiratory system, nervous system, and that are the systems. And here the immune system is the system that mediates the resistance to infections, and that is called as the immune system. And what is meant by immunology? The study of structure and function of the immune system. We are studying the structure and what is responsible for the immune system, and what is the function of different cells, and what are the function of different tissues, and that are responsible for the immunity, and that study comes under the immunology. That means the basic concept that relates to the immunity, and that system, that study is called as the immunology, and that system is called as the immune system. And next, coming to the immunity. The immunity means the resistance of a host to pathogens and their side effects or the toxic effects. Resistance of a host to pathogens or to the and their toxic effects, and that is called as the immunity. And next, coming to the immune response. And what is immune response? Immune response means that is a collective and coordinated response to the introduction of foreign substances in an individual mediated by cells and molecules of immune system. That means here many number of cells and tissues and molecules that are involving in immune system that showing the response, and that are called as the immune response. Immune response means here the cells, tissues, and the molecules that are responsible for showing the immunity, and that response is called as the immune response. Here the immune response, it may be primary immune response or secondary immune response. Next we will discuss about that also. And next, coming to the next slide. And here coming to the immunity. What is immunity? Immunity means the ability of the body and that protects against the foreign bodies or the foreign microorganisms. And that is called as the immunity. And this is also called as the disease resistance. Disease resistant, and the lack of immunity, and that is called as the susceptibility. Lack of immunity is called as the susceptibility, and immunity showing individuals that are called as the resistance showing individuals, and susceptible individuals, and that are the immunity shown by different types of individuals. And here, what are the types of immunity? Coming to the types of immunity, there are two major types of immunity, and that are of mainly innate immunity, or it is also called as native immunity or natural immunity or non-specific immunity. First one is the innate, natural, non-specific or native immunity. And the second one, that is called as the acquired immunity, or it is also called as adaptive immunity. Acquired or adaptive immunity. And first, coming to the innate immunity. Already you know, innate means native. What is native means? Native, your native place. That means specific, you are present at that place, and that is called as the nativity. Here it is also called as the natural or non-specific immunity. And here the innate immunity, it is inherited by the organisms from the parents. It is inherited by the organisms from the parents. That means it is the immunity that is present at birth time. That is called as the innate immunity or the native immunity. That means it is inherited from the parents and protects it from birth throughout life. Throughout life, this immunity is present. Native immunity or natural immunity means already the body, in the body only the immunity is present from the at the time of the birth. At the time of the birth. That is called as the innate immunity or native immunity, and this is also called as non-specific immunity. And here innatus means inborn. Innatus means inborn. That means at the time of birth this immunity is present, hence it is called as the inborn immunity or innate immunity or the native immunity or non-specific immunity. It shows the generic response, hence it is called as the inborn immunity. Inborn immunity. And next coming to the acquired immunity or adaptive immunity. That means during the lifetime, the immunity that is acquired or adaptive, and that immunity is called as the acquired or adaptive immunity. Acquired means acquiring during the lifetime and due to the infections or some of the microorganisms attack, and that immunity is called as the acquired immunity, acquired or adaptive immunity. These are the two types of immunity, and let us discuss these two types of immunity. Next slide. First, coming to the innate immunity, and already you know resistance possessed by the individual at the time of birth, or that is the inherited from the parents, and that is called as the innate or native immunity or natural immunity, and it provides the first line of defense against infection. That means at the time of birth means it is the first line of defense against the infections, and that is called as the innate immunity. And this innate immunity, it mainly occurs at three levels, and at the species level, and at the racial level, and at the individual level. Species level, racial level, and individual level. Species. Next, coming to next slide, move on to next slide. Species immunity. Species means, and that the species that showing the immunity, the total immunity showing by particular members of a species, and that is called as a species immunity. Here, for these examples are humans, birds, and these are the particular species. And these particular species that showing the immunity, the total immunity shown by the members of the species against a particular pathogen, and that is called as the immunity. And here birds immune to tetanus, we are more susceptible to tetanus, but birds are more immune to tetanus, and that immunity is called as the species immunity. Next, coming to the racial immunity, races. That means here the races that show difference in their resistance to certain infectious diseases, and that is called as the racial immunity. Here, racial means different races exhibiting in different types of immune response against to particular infection, and that is called as the racial immunity. For examples, Africans, Australians, they show they differ in their genetic constitution and also in environmental background, and that show their different immune response against to different infectious diseases. For example, Africans are more resistant to malarial diseases, and that is the racial immunity. Racial immunity. Species immunity, racial immunity. Racial means races that show difference in their resistance to particular infectious diseases, and that is called as a racial immunity. And next, coming to the individual immunity. Individual immunity means it is very specific for each and every individual. Individual means, for example, homozygous twins are there, heterozygous twins are there. Homozygous twins means their genetic constitution is same, but their immune response is also same. But heterozygous twins, they show differences in their immune response, and that is called as the individual immunity. Different individuals showing different immune response, and that is called as the individual immunity. That means it is very specific for each and every individual, and that are having same racial background. That means in Africans or in India, different people are present and different people show different resistance power, and that is called as the individual immunity. These are the different at different levels the showing immunity, and that are called as the species immunity, racial immunity, and individual immunity. Move on to next slide. Next, coming to the factors affecting the innate immunity, and different factors affect the innate immunity. Already we know about innate immunity. Innate immunity means that is present at the time of birth. That means during the lifetime, the immunity is also changing. Here, that means here the age factor, hormones, and nutrition factors. These are the main factors that affect the innate immunity. Age, hormones, nutrition. These are the main factors that affects the innate immunity. Next slide. And in this, first coming to the age. Age here, the two extremes of life that are more susceptible to various infections. Two extremes of life means fetus or newborn and old persons. These are the two extremes. Two extremes means first starting means newborn, ending means old persons. And here the fetus or newborn and old persons, they carry higher susceptibility to various infections, and that mainly confers the innate immunity. Here in fetus means here the immune system it is immature. That means the system is not developed proper way. Hence, these are more prone to infections. Whereas in old age means here the global decreasing of immune response occurs. Decreasing of immune response occurs in old people. Hence, they lack the immune response. And these two extremes of life, they are more susceptible to various infections. And also in some diseases, some are more prone to infections, some are resistant to infections. And here, some that means the immune system when it is active means that shows the resistance to the infection, and when it is inactive means that shows the susceptibility to the infections. That means here age confers the immunity power, and that mainly responsible for the determining the innate immunity. That is the main factor affecting the innate immunity. Next slide. Next, coming to the hormones. Hormones. Certain hormonal disorders, they cause susceptibility to infections. Hormonal disorders. Hormonal disorders means here diabetes mellitus, adrenal dysfunctions, and thyroidism, hypothyroidism. These mainly affect the innate immunity. That means here diabetes mellitus, it is also a hormonal disorder, and due to this diabetes mellitus several it prone to kidney infections, eye infections, and these are the infections that are possible due to the diabetes mellitus. And staphylococcus sepsis, it is also more common in diabetes patients, and this is caused by the increased level of carbohydrates in tissues. And next, corticosteroids. Steroids also depress host resistance by its anti-inflammatory and anti-phagocytic effects. Inflammatory response means here first the infection if occurs in the body means the body first shows the symptoms of inflammation. Here the host they depress the host resistance by its anti-inflammatory and anti-phagocytic effects or by inhibiting antibody formation. Antibodies means here when the foreign antigen enters into the body, first the body reacts against that antigen and that produces the antibodies, particular that type of antigen. And here inflammation means this is the first cause of the infection. It's phagocytosis. Phagocytosis means foreign particles that are engulfed by separate type of cells, and that is called as the phagocytosis. Here these corticosteroids, what happening here? Corticosteroids, they depress the host resistance, they decrease the host resistance by causing the anti-inflammatory effects and anti-phagocytic effects, and also by inhibiting the antibody formation. And this affects these factor, the hormones. These affects the innate immunity. And next slide. And next, coming to the nutrition. This is another factor that affects the innate immunity. Here, both humoral and cell-mediated immunity are reduced in malnutrition percent. What is meant by malnutrition? Malnutrition means here the food supplements are not in proper levels, and that is called as the malnutrition. Here, for this example, main example is the kwashiorkor. Kwashiorkor means here protein deficiency individuals are called as that cause a disease called as the kwashiorkor disease. And they, in these persons, the cell-mediated immune response reduces. Cell-mediated immune response. Next, we will discuss this also, cell-mediated and humoral immunity. Here, both humoral and cell-mediated immunity, these are reduced in malnutritional percent. That means here the food supplement are not in a proper level. These are in low levels, and that are more prone to infections, and that affects the innate immunity. What are the factors that affecting the innate immunity means here age, nutrition, and hormonal disorder. These are mainly affecting the innate immunity. Next, coming to the next slide. And next, what is the mechanism that occurs in innate immunity? And here, several barriers that are mainly responsible in the innate immunity. And that barriers are the epithelial surfaces, antibacterial substances, cellular factors, and inflammation, and fever, acute phase proteins. These are mainly involved in the innate immunity. These are mainly involved in innate immunity. And these act as a barriers to many microbial pathogens. These are the mechanical barriers. Some of the mechanical barriers are also present, and some of the cellular barriers, some of the physiological barriers, and cytokine barriers. And that prevents the entry of the pathogens and to the many bacterial pathogens. Here, first coming to the epithelial surfaces. Move on to next slide. Epithelial surfaces. In epithelial surfaces, skin, it is the main physical barrier of body. It provides the physiological, it is the physical and mechanical barrier to prevent the entry of the microorganisms. And here the skin contains many bactericidal secretions, and that prevents the entry of the pathogens. And here the skin, if the skin damage occurs means it causes the entry of the different pathogens. Here, that means here the skin, it prevents the entry of the different pathogens. The resident bacterial flora of skin and mucous surfaces that prevents the colonization by pathogen. That means here colonization means grouping of pathogen. Here these layers, the skin layers and the epithelial layers and mucosal surfaces, they prevent the entry of the pathogens, and that are called as the epithelial surfaces. And these cause, when these are altered, that means when skin damage occurs or the epithelial layers are damaged, and that are prone to different diseases due to the infection. And for this clostridial enterocolitis, that following oral antibiotics, some of the individuals that are most susceptible to antibiotics, and that leads to the clostridial enterocolitis that causes the gastric ulcers, and due to, yeah, and this is followed by oral antibiotics. That is the alteration of the normal flora, the epithelial surfaces or skin, it leads to the different diseases. And this here the skin layer mainly prevents the entry of the pathogens, and that is the epithelial surfaces. Next slide. And next coming to the respiratory tract. Here the respiratory tract, it also prevents the entry of different pathogens. Here respiratory tract, it is lined by moist mucous surfaces. The mucous membrane that traps the microorganism and cause the immobilization of that microorganisms. Mucus secreted by mucous membrane traps the microorganism and cause the immobilization. And here the microorganisms and dust particles that enter the respiratory tract and during the breathing that are trapped in the mucus. Mucus causes the trapping of microorganisms. And here and also these when these are trapped means the pharynx below the you also know the parts of the respiratory system, and here the pharynx that throws out the microorganisms, and when these are swallowed, that means here the mucus layer prevents the entry of the microorganism. The inhaled particles are arrested in nasal passage on moist mucous membrane surfaces. The mucus layer prevents the entry of the pathogens and they propels the particles towards the pharynx. And these pharynx then these thrown out the microorganisms with the feces. With the feces. And that is the respiratory tract that acts as a barrier to prevent the entry of the pathogen. And also if these are entered into our body, then these are thrown out with the help of the pharynx and through the elimination of the pathogens in the form of feces. And that is the respiratory tract. Next slide. And next coming to the intestinal tract. Intestinal tract, this also contains the epithelial layers, and here the saliva that present in mouth mainly inhibits the many microorganisms, and also the gastric juice that contains the acidic pH, and it also destroys the swallowed bacteria if any. The acidic pH of gastric juice and saliva and normal flora of intestine that prevents the entry of the pathogen, that prevent the colonization of pathogens. And also conjunctiva means ear, eyes tears flush away the bacteria and other dust particles, and tears mainly contains the enzyme called as the lysozyme, and that has the main bactericidal action, and that flushes away the bacteria and other dust particles. And these are the barriers that prevents the entry of the pathogen and also prevents the colonization of pathogens. And next slide. And next, genitourinary tract. Here, this also eliminates the microorganism. Here, urinary tract. In urinary tract, in the form of urine, it eliminates the many microorganisms from the urethra by its flushing action. And also, the vaginal secretion of females, it contains the acidic pH, and this acidic pH, it is mainly due to the fermentation of glycogen by lactobacillus organism, and that makes the vagina free from microorganisms. Whereas in males, semen is believed to have some antibacterial substance. Here in genitourinary tract, urine eliminates the foreign organisms, and also vaginal secretion contains the acidic pH, and that causes the free from microorganisms. Whereas in males, semen is believed to have some antibacterial substances, and these acts as the barriers for the prevention of the pathogen. They eliminate the microorganisms. And next slide. And this is the main barriers that prevents the entry of the pathogens. First coming to the eyes. Eyes contains the conjunctiva of eyes. It contains the enzyme lysozyme. Tears mainly flush out the microorganism. And next, coming to the respiratory system that contains the mucus layers. Mucus layers prevents the entry of the pathogens by coughing, sneezing, and ciliary actions, and by phagocytic action. And these causes the elimination of the pathogen. And next, skin. Skin acts as a structural barrier that prevents the entry of the pathogen. And this eliminates the pathogen by means of sebum and by means of fermentation actions. And here the normal flora of skin, it prevents the entry of the pathogen. And next, coming to the urinogenital tract. Urinogenital tract, here the flushing action of urine, acidity of urine, and vaginal secretions, acidic pH, it causes the removal of microorganisms. And this causes these are the mechanical barriers that prevents the entry of the pathogen and also eliminates the different pathogens from our body. And this is the system that is mainly responsible for the innate system. And next, coming to the next slide. Next, coming to the antibacterial substances. And different types of antibacterial substances are present in blood and tissue. A number of antibacterial substances present in our body, mainly beta-lysines. These are thermostable substances, and that shows the activity against the anthrax and bacillus microorganisms. Beta-lysines. And next, polypeptides, basic polypeptides, leucines, plaquins. Leucines means here interleukins. These are effective against the viral diseases. Leucines and plaquins. Plaquins are the junctional elements. These are the junctional elements that are present in blood and tissues. Next, acidic substances, lactic acid present in tissue and infected area. These have the antibacterial activity. Whereas interferons, they protect against several viral infections. And these are the main antibacterial substances present in blood and tissues. And also contains the these are mainly responsible for providing resistance to the infection. That are the antibacterial substances present in blood and tissues. And next, move on to next slide. Next, cellular factors. And different cellular factors are responsible for the innate immunity. And here, when the infective agent, when these cross the epithelial barriers and some of the tissue factors, they come into play for the defense mechanism. And that process, that are the cellular factors that are involved in the innate immunity. Here, what is the process involved in these cellular factor? Here, mainly the main process involved here is the phagocytosis process. Here, in phagocytosis, many cells are involved. Mainly macrophages. Macrophages are involved in the phagocytosis process. Here, first, when the infection occurs, means the foreign antigen or the microorganisms, when it enters into our body, it causes the invasion of tissues by infective agent. It causes the invasion of tissues. Next, it causes the accumulation of phagocytes at the site of infection. Accumulation of phagocytes at the site of infection. And next, it causes the deposition of fibrin, and that entangles the microorganism or acts as a barrier for the spread of infection. Here, next, the phagocytic cells ingest these microorganisms and destroy them. And this is the mainly phagocytosis process. Here, what are macrophages? Macrophages means different cells are present in our immune system. Already you know RBC, WBC. In WBC, neutrophils, basophils, eosinophils, monocytes, and these are present. These are mainly responsible for the immune system. Here, the monocytes that are circulating in bloodstream, and that when these are enlarged, enlarged, that forms into a macrophages. And these macrophages, these are mainly participate in phagocytosis process. What is meant by phagocytosis means, for example, if the foreign antigen enters into our body means the tissues, the invasion of tissues occurs by infective agent. And at the site of the infection, the phagocytes accumulate. At the site of infection, phagocytes accumulate. Next, the deposition of fibrin that entangles the microorganism and that causes that acts as a barrier for the spread of the infection. And the next process is the phagocytic cells that ingest these microorganisms and destroy them. And that process is called as the phagocytosis process. And next slide. And here the different types of cells are responsible. What are these cells? Phagocytes, macrophages or polymorphonuclear like leukocytes, and macrophages. These are the amoeboid cells in tissues, and reticuloendothelial cells and monocytes in blood. These are mainly responsible for the phagocytosis. What is meant by phagocytosis means? Phagocytosis means the pathogens that invading in blood and tissue are destroyed by phagocytic cells, and that is called as the phagocytic process. And these are many types of different types of cells are involved in phagocytosis process, and that are of phagocytes, macrophages, and macrophages. And these are the cellular factors that are involved in the phagocytosis process. Next slide. And here in phagocytes, and these phagocytes are of again two types: professional phagocytes and non-professional phagocytes. Professional means that has the main function of phagocytosis, and that contains the receptors on their surfaces and can detect the different foreign object, foreign substances, foreign microorganisms. They have the receptors on the chemical receptors on the surfaces, and they recognize the microorganism and that are involved in the phagocytosis process, and that are called as the professional phagocytosis. And next, non-professional phagocytosis. These phagocytosis is not their principal function, and these two types of cells that are mainly involved in the phagocytosis process. Next slide. And here in professional phagocytes, professional means they have the main function of phagocytosis. And here in blood, different types of cells are present: neutrophils, monocytes, and in bone marrow, macrophages, monocytes. In gut and intestine region, macrophages are present. In skin, dendritic cells, conventional macrophages, mast cells. These are called as antigen presenting cells. These are responsible for the phagocytosis process, and different types of cells are responsible, and that types of cells are present in different location, and different locations shows different types of cells. These are involved in the phagocytosis process. Next slide. And next, in non-professional phagocytes, non-professional means here in these cells the main function is not the phagocytosis, but here these are also involved in the immune system response, but this function is not the phagocytosis, that are called as the non-professional phagocyte. And here in blood and lymph nodes, mainly lymphocytes are present, whereas in skin, epithelial cells are present. In connective tissue, fibroblast cells are present. In blood, erythrocytes are present. These are the types of cells that are present, but that these function is not the phagocytosis, and that are called as the non-professional phagocytes. Next slide. And next, phagocytic action. Already we know phagocytic action. First action is the invasion. Invasion. How invasion occurs? It is actually this process occurs in mainly 4 stages. And the first stage is the chemotaxis. Chemo means chemical. Taxis here means here attracted. phagocytic cells that are attracted by the chemotactic substance. And here that means the microorganisms when they reach at the site of the infection, that means the phagocytic cells they reach at the site of the infection by the chemotactic substances, and that is called as the chemotoxins. And the next step is the attachment. What is the attachment? Attachment means here the infective substance that it attracts the phagocytic cells, and these phagocytic cells they attach to the phagocytic membrane. Infective agent gets attached to the phagocytic membrane, and that process is called as the attachment. And next, ingestion. Ingestion means here the bacteria are engulfed by the pathogen by phagocytes. That means here the foreign microorganisms that are engulfed by the phagocytes. Here what happens here? The membrane of phagosome that fuses with the lysosome to form the phagolysosome. Here, first one is the movement of the phagocytic cells. Next one is the attachment. Attachment means here the infective agent it is attached to the phagocytic membrane. Next, ingestion. Ingestion means taking up of the foreign substances or the foreign organisms or the bacteria that are attached to the phagocytic membrane, and that is called as the ingestion. Here the bacteria or engulfment of the foreign pathogens that is made by phagocyte, and that process is called as the phagocytosis. And here what is the process occurring in phagocytosis? Mainly ingestion. Ingestion means here the membrane of phagosome that fuses with the lysosome, and here that lysosome forms the phagolysosome, and these are mainly involving in the phagocytosis process. And next slide. Next slide. Next, intracellular killing or digestion. Before slide. Before intracellular killing or digestion of microorganisms. Here digestion of microorganisms, and that is the intracellular killing of microorganisms that occurs in phagolysosomes. Here mainly the lytic enzymes, and that destroys the different type of the microorganism. Lytic enzymes are mainly responsible for the killing of the foreign organism, and here some bacteria resist such killing and some are multiply within phagolysosome, and here mainly different cells are responsible for in these phagocytosis process, and that are called as the lymphocytes called natural killer cells. These are mainly play an important role in this non-defense, non-specific defense against the viral infections and tumor diseases. And this is the mainly steps that are involved in the phagocytosis. Phagocytosis first chemotoxis. Next one is the attachment. Next ingestion. Next one is the intracellular killing. This is the final step for the digestion of the foreign substance by mediated by phagolysosome. And here mainly lytic enzymes that are mainly responsible for the digestion of the foreign substances, and different types of cells are involved in this digestion, and that are called as the natural killer cells, and different types of lymphocytes called natural killer cells are mainly responsible for the digestion of these microorganisms. Next slide. And next factor is the inflammation, and this also acts as a non-specific defense mechanism. Inflammation means when the, for example, when skin is damaged, that means when it's burnt occurs, that means it causes the inflammation. Inflammation occurs as a result of injury. As a result of injury, that means when the entry of the pathogens occurs at the site of entry of pathogens occurs at the site of tissue injury, and that leads to the dilation of the blood vessels, that causes the increasing of vascular permeability and causes the cellular infiltration. That means Cellular infiltration means different types of cells that are responsible for the immunity action that are present at the site of the infection. Cellular infiltration, mainly lymphocytes and mainly macrophages that are attached at the site of the infection. And due to these increased vascular permeability, plasma pours out and it causes the dilution of the toxic products. And here, next, what happens? The fibrin barrier is laid to wall off the site of the infection. And that is the main inflammation process that occurs at the site of the infection or at the site of the tissue injury. Inflammation mainly shows the five symptoms: redness, swelling, heat, pain, and loss of function. These are the five symptoms that are shown by inflammation, and that causes that is mediated by the tissue injury, that is initiated by the entry of the pathogen that leads to the vasodilation and increased vascular permeability and cellular infiltration. And this cellular infiltration that causes the attachment of the different phagocytic cell, and that causes the phagocytosis and also causes the increased vascular permeability, and that pours out the toxic products. And here, and also the fibrin barrier that is present at the site, and it is laid to wall up at the site of the infection, and that is called as the inflammation process. Next slide. Next, coming to the fever. Fever, when the infection occurs means it causes some also, it causes the fever. That means the rising temperature following infection. It is a natural defense mechanism. Rising temperature, and also it destroys the infecting organism, and it also stimulates the production of interferon. And these interferon they mainly acts against different types of viral infections. And interferons are also three types: alpha interferons, beta interferons, and gamma interferon. And these in mainly gamma interferons, they show mainly effective against the viral infection. And that is the next factor affecting the innate immunity. Next slide. Next, acute phase proteins. Acute phase proteins. After injury, there is sudden increase or decrease in some type of proteins, and that are present in plasma, that are called as the acute phase proteins, and that are called as the mainly C-reactive proteins or mannose binding proteins. We know the hospital reports. If you seen the hospital reports, if the CRP levels are increased means in the blood the infection is more. CRP levels means C-reactive protein, and that C-reactive protein is a type of acute phase protein, and that means C-reactive protein it shows the infection process, and these protein concentration is increased after the injury or the after the infection process, and these are called as the acute phase proteins, and these activate the alternate pathway of complement. What are complements? Complements means these are the types of proteins. A number of proteins are present in serum, and that shows the antibacterial activity and by the process of phagocytosis, and that are called as a complement. Complements are the proteins that are present in serum, and that shows the antibacterial activity, and that are mainly participate in the antibacterial activity, and that are called as the complements, and these activate the alternate pathway of complements, and they also prevent the tissue injury and also causes the repair of inflammatory lesions, that are called as the acute phase protein. These acute phase proteins are the proteins that are produced when the after the injury these concentration or increase, that are called as the acute phase proteins. Next slide. And up to this we have completed the innate immunity. And next coming to the acquired or adaptive immunity, or the second type of immunity. Amit Kumar sir, there is a time for next continuing the session. I can
Yes,
continue.
ma'am. You continue. Yeah, ma'am. You continue, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Next immunity is the acquired immunity or adaptive immunity. Already we discussed about the first type of immunity, that is called as the innate immunity, and the next one is the acquired. Acquired means that is acquired during the lifetime, and that is called as the acquired or adaptive immunity. That means here the resistance power that is shown by individual, that is acquired during the lifetime, and that is called as the acquired or adaptive immunity. The resistance that is acquired by an individual during the lifetime by recognizing the specific pathogens or the antigens or the foreign molecules, and that is called as the acquired or adaptive immunity, and it provides the second line of defense against reinfection. Innate immunity that provides the first line of defense, and next acquired immunity, it provides the second line of defense against the infections. Next slide. And this shows the characteristics that are shown by acquired immunity. It shows many characteristics that are of mainly antigen specificity, antigen diversity, immunological memory, self and non-self recognition. Antigen specificity means here the immune system or antibodies can distinguish among different antigens. That means here the foreign antigens when are entering into our body, that means different types of antigens are present, and the body has the ability to recognize the different types of antigen. And here even in between two proteins that differ in only one amino acid are also recognized by this adaptive immunity or acquired immunity. And next, diversity. Here, the immune system that is capable of generating large antibody diversity in its recognition molecule. Antibody diversity, the mechanism is different. And here, the immune system is capable of detecting these large antibody diversity. That means antibodies are directed against the antigens, and that antibody diversity is also shown by this acquired immunity. And this acquired immunity, it also shows the immunological memory. That means here the immune system that produces the different types of cells, and here some are the actively producing cells, some are the memory cells, and here the immune system that exhibits the memory of our second encountering of that same antigens by generating a secondary immune response, which is more specific. Here, in primary immune response is present, secondary immune response is present. Primary immune response means when the first time the antigen attacks our body, and that body produces the antibodies, and that is called as the primary immune response. Whereas in secondary immune response, when the antigen is second time encountered, then the immune system exhibits some memory, and that is called as the immunological memory, and it also exhibits the characteristics of self and non-self recognition. That means the body has the ability to recognize the foreign antigen or the self antigen, and that are the characteristics that are mainly shown by adaptive immunity or acquired immunity. Acquired immunity has these characteristics. And next slide. And next, this acquired immunity, it is mainly of again two types, active immunity and passive immunity. And this active immunity is again of two types, natural active immunity and artificial active immunity. Passive immunity is also natural passive immunity and artificial passive immunity. Acquired immunity is of mainly two types, active and passive immunity. Next slide. First, coming to the active immunity, it is also known as adaptive, acquired or adaptive immunity. And here, the resistance that is developed by an individual as a result of antigenic stimulus, and that is called as the active immunity. Active immunity means the resistance that is developed by an individual as a result of antigenic stimulus. That is called as the active immunity. Antigenic stimulus means here when the body attacked with the infections, the resistance that is showed by the immune system or body, that is called as the active immunity. And it is mainly used for the prophylaxis to increase the body resistance. That means prophylaxis means here the prophylaxis means the treatment that to increase the body resistance power. And here, and this is also again of two types: natural active immunity, artificial active immunity. Active immunity means the resistance developed by an individual as a result of antigenic stimulus. Next slide. Next slide. Next, coming to the passive immunity. Passive means passively. That means here it is transmitted passively to a recipient in a artificial form or in a ready-made form. That means here the recipient immune system, it plays a no role in the immune system. Here the resistance is transmitted passively to a recipient in a ready-made form. That is called as the passive immunity. Natural means the body is acquiring the immunity by the infection process, whereas the passive immunity means here the resistance that is acquiring by in a ready-made form, and that is called as the passive immunity. It is mainly used for the treatment of acute infections. And these are also again of two types: natural passive immunity and artificial passive immunity. Next slide. And next, coming to the what are the differences in between these active and passive immunity? Active means it is produced actively by the host immune system, whereas the passive means here the artificial in a ready-made form. The body is receiving the antibodies. That means here received passively, no active participation of the host immune system, and that is called as the passive immunity. Whereas in active immunity, it is induced by infections or foreign pathogens or by immunogens. And next, passive immunity means it is conferred by the administration of ready-made antibodies that induce the infection and that causes the resistance, and that is called as a passive immunity. Here, administration of ready-made antibodies that increases the immunity power in the host immune system, that is called as the passive immunity. Whereas the active immunity means it is actively acquiring by the host immune system. That means it is a long lasting and it shows the effective protection against the different types of foreign microorganisms. Whereas the passive immunity means we are only administering the ready-made antibodies. That means it shows only short-term activity and less effective protection. And next, in active immunity, immunity is effective only after certain period. That means it takes some time for the generation of antibodies, and that is only effective after a certain period or after a lag period. Certain period is required for the generation of antibodies. Whereas in passive immunity, and here the immediate immunity occurs in the passive immunity. And then next, in active immunity, immunological memory is present. That means it is naturally acquiring. That means here it shows the immunological memory. Whereas in passive immunity, no memory is present. Next, in active immunity, booster effect on subsequent doses required. Booster doses means here it is also induced by vaccines, and here the booster effect is necessary for this active immunity. Whereas in passive immunity, subsequent dose less effective. That means it is here we are inducing in a ready-made form. Hence here the subsequent dose less effective. And next, in active immunity, negative phase may occur, whereas in passive immunity no negative phase occurs. And here the active immunity, it is applicable for the immunodeficient individuals, whereas in passive immunity it is applicable for the immunodeficient individuals. That are the basic major differences in between the active and passive immunity. Next slide. Next, types of active immunity. There are two types of active immunity, natural and artificial active immunity. First, coming to the natural active immunity, it results from the either a clinical or by infection by microbes. Here, when the infection occurs means the body acquires the immunity against that particular type of infection, and that immunity is called as the natural active immunity, and it is usually long lasting immunity. Example, for example, when the person he recovers from the chicken pox or measles, he develops a natural active immunity, and that immunity is called as the natural active immunity. That means when the person attacked by infection, that shows the immunity, that is called as a natural active immunity. And here, when the disease is cured, the patient becomes susceptible to the infection sometimes more. Here, premonition. Premonition means it is a special type of immunity. Here, the premonition means it is infection immunity. Infection immunity, it is a host response that protects against different number of parasites and illness without eliminating infection. Here, the infection occurs, when the infection occurs, it protects the against the number of parasites, but without eliminating the infection. And that process is called as the premonition. Premonition is, it is mainly seen in syphilis patients. Syphilis patients, here the infection occurs, but it does not eliminating the infection, but it gains the resistance power against the infection, and that process is called as the premonition. And this is the natural active immunity. And next slide. And next, coming to the artificial active immunity. Artificial active immunity means it is induced by vaccination. What are vaccines? Vaccines are the preparations of live or killed microorganisms, and these contains the antigenic preparation that mainly shows the activity against the foreign antigen, that are called as a vaccine. And here, artificial active immunity. Artificial activeness means here the vaccines are introduced into the body that shows the immunity against that particular type of infection, and that is called as the artificial active immunity. And here the resistance is mainly induced by the vaccination. And mainly two types of vaccines are present: bacterial vaccines and viral vaccines. And these vaccine preparations are mainly done by using the live preparations and attenuated preparations, or by killed vaccines, or by subunit vaccines and bacterial products. These are mainly used for the vaccination preparation. And viral, some types of viral particles are also used for the vaccine preparation. These are also live or attenuated or killed vaccines or subunit vaccines, and these are mainly used for induction purpose, for the to gain the resistance power against the microorganism, and that is called as the artificial active immunity. Next slide. And here, the live vaccines, these mainly initiate infection without causing any injury or disease. Live vaccines means here, these vaccines, these can be administered orally or parenterally. And here, these last for several years. Live vaccines means live preparations of microorganisms. The microorganism activity, and that maintains their activity, but these they do not cause the infection process, that are called as the live vaccines. They initiate an infection without causing any injury or disease, and that are called as the live vaccines, and these can be administered orally or parenterally. And here, next, killed vaccines are less immunogenic than live vaccines. Killed vaccines are less immunogenic than live vaccines, and their protection lasts for short periods. Whereas the live means these are only effective and shows for their immunity lasts for several years, whereas the killed vaccines are less immunogenic than live vaccine, and the protection lasts for short period. Next, next slide. And here we already know about these vaccines. Vaccines are biological preparations that are produced from the living microorganism, and they enhance the immunity against different types of diseases and also prevent the types of diseases, and also used for the treatment of different diseases. And mainly different types of vaccines are used: live vaccines, attenuated vaccines or inactivated vaccines, recombinant vaccines, toxoid vaccines, or conjugated vaccines. These are mainly used as the vaccination preparations. Next slide. And next, coming to the live and attenuated vaccine. And here the microorganisms are attenuated or disabled so that they lose their ability to cause significant diseases. Here the activity is decreased. They lose their ability to cause the disease, but they have the capacity that are present in the host cells, and that are called as the live or attenuated vaccines. Attenuation means only the causing disease causing effect is decreased, but the ability to produce the antibody against that particular antigen is maintained in that attenuated vaccine. And these vaccines are first produced by the Edward Jenner, father of vaccination vaccines, that are by Edward Jenner. He inoculated the humans with the cowpox virus, and that confers the immunity to the smallpox. And next slide. And next, what is attenuation? Attenuation means by growing a pathogen or virus for prolonged periods under a particular cultural condition, and that is called as the attenuation. And that consists several mutants that are better for the growth in the abnormal culture condition than in the natural host. Here, the microorganisms are growing in some cultural condition, and that are mainly suitable for the production of different antibodies against that particular antigen, and that are called as the attenuated vaccines. For example, attenuated strains of Mycobacterium bovis and BCG vaccines, BCG vaccines are used, and these are mainly used. These are mainly grown on increasing concentrations of bile. And here, after culturing, after growing these microorganisms on these media, it has developed, it has adapted to grow in strong bile condition, and it is become sufficiently attenuated, and that is used as the vaccine for tuberculosis, and it can be replicated in within host cells, and it is suitable for inducing the cell mediated immune response. And BCG vaccine, nowadays BCG vaccine is used, Bacillus calmette-guerin. It is developed, and it requires only a single immunization, and that are called as the attenuated vaccines. Next slide. Next, killed vaccines or inactivated vaccine. Here, the pathogen it is treated with the chemicals or heat, and that causes the incapable of replication. That means here the reproductive capability of the microorganisms is decreased, and that is called as the inactivated vaccines or killed vaccine. And but it is allowed to induce an immune response against the particular microorganism, and that are called as the killed vaccines or inactivated vaccines. And here the vaccine it has the capability to induce an immune response against the particular antigen, and here the chemical inactivation is by means of formaldehyde by or by virus alkylating agent. Chemical inactivation occurs by formaldehyde by or by alkylating agents. Next, the polio vaccine. It is also produced by formaldehyde inactivation. Formaldehyde inactivation. SAC polio vaccine is also produced by formaldehyde inactivation of the polio viruses. And these are called as the inactivated or killed vaccines. Next slide. And here the chelated vaccines requires the repeated boosters because these are inactivated, whereas these require a predominantly humoral antibody response and are less effective than attenuated vaccines. Whereas attenuated vaccines, these induce the cell-mediated immunity, whereas the chelated vaccines, they induce a humoral antibody response. And here, these inactivated vaccines, as so
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt you, ma'am. I think it is over for today class because you have a 13 to 15 slide left. Okay, and it is over for all the students. So I think, ma'am, you take two more, three questions from a
okay,
student because the topic is going on. Then all are the overview, and
okay,
many
sir.
are just lack of interest, are showing lack of interest. That's why I'm telling you. Okay. So Shivam,
Okay,
please go
okay,
ahead
no
and
problem.
take questions from our students. And ma'am, it is a really informative sessions, and I just knew that you are a great teacher experience. That's why I'm just welcome in our BioSetup platform, and it is very helpful for students. Your lecture is, I think, is very informative for all the students. Okay, Mr. Shivam, please take your own initiative and take a question from a student. Only 4 to 5 questions related to these topics, today topics. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, ma'am, for this informative session. We really feel
Thank
delighted to
you.
have you. And
Okay.
students, if you have any queries, you can comment in the question box, comment box. Risita Parihar, Rocha Mahani, Swati, is everyone thanking ma'am. It was very much informative session, ma'am. It was wonderful.
Okay.
Students are requested to fill attendance form, then you are allowed to leave. I request our organizer, Mr. Amit, to please put the attendance form. It was really informative session for immunology. You can
Any
mute your mic.
queries?
Hello.
Okay. One query is there now. Polymorphonuclear leukocytes. Someone is asking about polymorphonuclear leukocytes.
Yes, ma'am. You can reply. You can reply.
Okay. Polymorphonuclear leukocytes means the types of cells that are multi-lobed cells. The nucleus is multi-lobed. You know about the nucleophils, neutrophils, basophils, and here the multi-lobed nuclear containing cells and that are of leukocytes that are called as a polymorphonuclear lymphocytes and that are mainly responsible that are showing the phagocytic action and that are called as the polymorphonuclear cells. And that means here the morphology, that means they are changing their morphology by changing their shapes of nucleus. And that are called as a polymorphonuclear leukocytes that are mainly participating in the phagocytic action that are called polymorphonuclear leukocytes.
And
Any
someone is
other
asking, what is immunologic tolerance?
Immunological tolerance means, for example, if the infection occurs in the body shows two types of response. That means resistance and susceptibility. And here, the immunological tolerance means the individual that are more tolerant to the immune response. Tolerating means that means they have the increased capacity of the immune response and that is called as the immune tolerant individuals. For example, some of the individuals are more prone to allergic conditions and some are more susceptible to allergy, some are more susceptible to allergic conditions, some are more resistant to allergic conditions. And here the resistance showing individuals that are called as the immune tolerant individuals. Immunotolerant individuals, that means here in immunotolerant individual the resistance power is high. And next query.
Uh, and someone is asking, booster doses means what, ma'am?
Booster dosages means here, for example, if BCG vaccine is there. This BCG vaccine is given in 3 doses. First one is the primary dosage, secondary dosage. 3 doses are required for the BCG. In the first few months, first dose is given, and after the 6 months, second dose is given, and that different dosages are required. That dosages are required for the showing the immune response, that are called as the booster means to increase the immune response. That means in the first dose the immunity response is little, and in the second time when it is given again, that means the body itself recognizes that dose, and it also shows increases the resistance power against that dose. That means booster means increasing capacity of that dosages, and that they are mainly required for the vaccination purposes. Booster dosages.
Okay, ma'am.
Next.
And Sunidhi Sharma is asking, if someone have developed the immunity to coronavirus, is that person still prone to coronavirus?
It is not in that way, because coronavirus here the immunoglobulin, some type of, in the next session we will come these also. Here convalescent sera are present and hyperimmune sera are present, and that means here the serum containing the different antibodies. And here the coronavirus prone individuals, they produce the different types of antibodies against that disease, but they have the capacity to prone to coronavirus, but it is not still known.
Okay, ma'am. And thank you, ma'am, for this informative session.
Okay,
And
thank you
you
very
can
much.
leave the meeting now, ma'am. I request our organizer, Mr. Amit, to please stop the meeting at 12:30. We really feel delighted to have you, ma'am, as a part of our family member, Miss
Okay,
Somoju, ma'am. It was really
thank you,
informative
sir.
session.
Okay,
I hope everyone enjoyed the session. So I request every student to please fill the attendance form, and our regular attendees are always supporting us. Our teachers and our speakers, they do lot amount of courage to teach you, to guide you with proper guidance. I request everyone to feel connected with us, to be connected with us, and attend today's evening session about molecular biology by Rahul Gupta sir. So those who have filled the attendance form, they can leave the meeting, and those who have not filled the attendance form, please fill the meeting. Please fill the attendance form, then leave the meeting. I request our organizer, Mr. Amit, to please put the link again. Students are asking. Sakshi, Priya, and Preeti Kumari.
Shivam,
Yes,
I've
yes.
noticed that many are not mention its own name. Okay, they are just mention its dash 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 dash. One is biotechnology, one is infofix. So please let
Okay.
a
I request every student to please join with your original name. Don't join with some other names. Please use your correct name and don't use the code language in this. We are not providing any certificate here. You are just welcome to study and get benefited from the well-known topics, well-known subjects. Those who have filled the attendance form can leave the meeting now. It was really informative session, and attend today's evening session also. I request our organizer, Mr. Amit, to please stop the program now. Many students have already left.
Thank